Hello everybody and welcome back to another Sims 4 Speedbuild. Now today is going to be a little bit of a longer one. I mean, it's basically the same for you guys, but it took me an hour to make this one. It usually takes me about 30 to 40 minutes to make. And, yeah, it took a while, and it definitely took a while for, like, the roofing to all come together, but in the end, I'm very happy with the way this turned out. I cannot, for the life of me, find the reference image, so you guys are just gonna have to, assume that I did it right, which I think I did, probably. But I'm just gonna go ahead and, talk for a little bit, catch up with you guys, because this is one of my first speed builds that I'm editing in, the old software. So basically, if you haven't been following my terrible journey on Movavi, basically, like, my original computer just completely black screened. It wouldn't turn on anything, so we got a new PC. Of course, with that new PC, I had to re-download Movavi, which means I also had to pay again for Movavi, which don't even get me started on how ridiculous that is. But nevertheless, I paid for Movavi again, and the new version is terrible. I mean, terrible. It is laggy. It was like bumping up and down my audio. It just didn't make any sense in my brain. So I was like, let me try and figure this out. So I thought it was Chrome, the fact that I had Chrome open, because of course, I'm looking at documents, I'm looking at, YouTube videos, I'm looking at all these different things while I'm editing, and I like to have Chrome open. So I closed Chrome. It worked for a good one editing session, and then it just stopped after that. And then so I went on Twitter to complain about it. Movavi replied, and they're like, "Hey, how can we help?" Blah blah blah. So they basically asked me all these different questions, and we ended up finally discovering a solution through DMs, and they basically said, well, these are all the possible solutions, and I'm like, is it possible to get an older version of Movavi? Because I hate the new version, whether it's laggy or not, I just hate the new version. And so basically I'm currently editing on the old version instead of the new one because I absolutely hate the new one. And it turns out that it wasn't Movavi's fault at all due to the lag and the constant volume spikes. It's my headset. Of course. Of course that's my headset. Like, what else would it be? The one thing that I was like, maybe this is it. I kind of doubt it. But it was. And I did a little googly. And yeah, Siberia, the one that I'm currently using, is absolutely terrible. It has terrible reviews. It has like, and the more I like edit, and the more I notice with my headset, the more I realize that the audio just cuts out at certain points. And it cuts out, it like bumps up my volume at random times. It wasn't just with Movavi as well, it was with The Sims as well. It would just kind of bump up my audio randomly. And you probably noticed that in the Cottage Living number 15, there's constantly like a volume button always on screen. Whereas before, I just sometimes adjusted the volume just because I wanted it to be louder, I wanted it to be quieter. But here, it's like blasting in your ears no matter how low you have it. So if you see that volume bar in the video, I tried to cut some of it out, but inevitably some is going to be there because it's like every couple of minutes. Whereas before, it was every couple of like 15 minutes. So, yeah, my journey with Movavi has not been a good one, has not been a pleasant one, and I would like to, get back into editing, and hopefully everything works out and I can get a new headset because this one is clearly not working. And I honestly prefer my old one. I really do. Like, I was able to hear myself in my headphones, whereas now I don't really know how loud I am or like how my voice sounds or whatever. I don't know that through these headsets. Through this headset, it took a while to learn how to like unmute my mic from my headset and that sort of thing. It just took a while to learn, but of course now I know it, but I still prefer my old one, honestly. But basically, that's kind of what's been going on. If videos were sporadic, whatever, that's why. And I wanted to get right back into videos as soon as I got back from Texas, but I literally could not go a single frame with new version of Movavi. I couldn't go a single frame without it lagging, single frame without the volume spike, anything. And so I basically just tried to fix that with Movavi, and thankfully all is well. At least on the Movavi front, with the headset front, that's gonna take a bit, but I can deal with that for a little bit. But Movavi was actually very helpful. I mean, like, I've had a lot of issues with them in the past. Like, I've had a lot of issues with their software in the past, but they at least, helped me out. So that was nice. And of course, I came back from Texas. You guys are gonna see that vlog pretty soon, hopefully. And I'm also trying to edit the Blake Shelton concert vlog. Because it's been a hot minute since I said, oh yeah, maybe I'll do a Blake Shelton vlog, and I'm gonna see how that would work, because most of it is indeed videos, which means copyright, usually. So I'm gonna have to find a way to work around that, and I also still need to put out some YTPs, because I have a YTP set up, it just automatically got copyright striked after I uploaded it. So I need to figure out a way to put that out. I'll probably just put it out in smaller segments and hope that that works. But I got some fun things planned, y'all. I feel good. I feel good. And I hope you guys are going to enjoy the content that I put out very soon. But that's really about it, honestly. Like, the build, I tried to not do everything that I usually do in every house, but I did. By that I mean the wallpapers. Maybe I'll change it in a bedroom or two, and then that's the house, essentially. So I basically did the same thing I've been doing for a while. It's hard to get out of that comfort zone, but I think in like a couple weeks-ish, not a couple weeks, but soon, I'm going to record a mansion speed build, like a craftsman mansion speed build, which, number one, is a very big job. If you thought this took me an hour, I don't even want to imagine how long the mansion is going to take me. And also craftsman, I like craftsman in real life, but I don't usually build it in The Sims, so it'll be a little bit out of my comfort zone as far as Sims go. Plus, mansions are just so hard to build, especially to furnish. I think building, it's kind of the least of your concerns, because you can easily build a box. The roofing is usually, semi-easy, depending on where you're getting your mansion sources from. But the inside is always going to be the worst, because you're like, I don't know how to fill the space, that sort of thing. Because with these sorts of homes, I'm like, okay, what can I put in here that's practical for use? But when you're in a mansion, people don't usually play in mansions unless you have, like, lots of money. So, and, sometimes you don't really need to go practical in a mansion, or, like, you have a ton of kids, so you want separate bedrooms for the kids, and it's, like, hard to kind of, like, generalize, making a mansion, if that makes any sense. Like, this could be used for anybody, any old person, but the mansion, you might, it's hard to, like, visualize what that to put in the mansion, you know what I mean? I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's hard to build a mansion usually, for me at least, because I don't know how to fill the space. And I feel like that's an issue of a lot of Sims players. Sometimes you just don't know how to fill the space. But I also would like to talk to you guys about Boy Meets World, because I've been obsessed with it again recently, and they actually have a podcast, like Pod Meets World. If you guys follow them on Instagram, or probably Twitter as well, you probably know that. And I absolutely love this podcast, y'all. Like, okay, so let me tell you my schedule, right? I go to work, and I get back around, like, 10:30, 11, and then I immediately would listen to that podcast. Like, I stayed up till 2 a.m. listening to that podcast. And especially when you have work the next day at 12 p.m., like, 12 in the morning, basically, p.m., you probably shouldn't do that, but I did anyway, and it is just such a fun podcast, and I just love immersing myself back into that world again, and now that I'm, like, rewatching it, I'm like, Girl Meets World could have been so much better. Like, the Girl Meets World, the spin-off, could have been so much better. Of course, it was good for, the time, but now looking back on it, I'm like, wow, this kind of sucks. I feel like they definitely could have, I don't know, they could have done better. And I feel like after Boy Meets World, a lot of the actors moved on to different things. So I feel like they should have just, kind of left it where it was. Because Boy Meets World was definitely decent. That's about all it was, though. It wasn't like outstanding or anything. It wasn't. It was Girl Meets World, but it was not Boy Meets World tier, if you know what I mean. Like there was certain scenes and certain storylines that I really liked, but it could have done a lot better, or it could have just not existed. Because don't get me wrong, I like it, but I definitely prefer Boy Meets World, and I definitely feel like they made it too Disney, if you know what I mean. Like Boy Meets World had a lot of innuendos. They had a lot of you know things for all ages to enjoy. Whereas Girl Meets World was really very much Disney. Like it was for definitely a younger generation, which kind of is weird because you'd think the spin-off of Boy Meets World, which was in the 90s, would be more for like the 90s kids. So I don't know. I've been just obsessed with that show recently, and I've been binge watching it. I have been watching the podcast. I just am so in love with Boy Meets World right now, and that's basically been my obsession. And because of my obsession, I would like to bring back TV show clips, just because I absolutely love just like looking back at all those TV show clips, just because they're some of my favorites, right? So I only upload like the things that of course, that I enjoy because that's what I enjoy doing. And just love looking back at those clips, and I have so much fun just looking at them, and just brings back memories of the earlier seasons. Because right now I'm on season 3. Well, I'm about to be on season 3, and yeah, it's life has been good to me recently. But essentially, Movavi's been an issue. Went on vacation, obsessed with the show once again, and been building a lot. So I just absolutely love this house. Just because, I mean, it's not exactly a mansion or anything, but it's definitely a larger home that I don't really build that often. So, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, a comment, and subscribe to join the Aqua team today. My origin ID is GoodLikeSim. The hashtags are GoodLikeSim and GoodLikeSimmer. I hope you guys are as happy with the build as I am, because I absolutely love that style. And I hope to see you guys in another speed build. So long for now, my Aqua team.